You know why I never got divorced?
It's cheaper to keep me.
No.
If Will looked back and was trying to give me whatever the hell it was I was asking for, he wouldn't have been able to accomplish it anyway.
He's always willing to suffer. And now, in this new passage of our relationship, he's learning how to suffer differently.
Interesting.
You are aware that he's suffering right now, whatever you're making him go through. That book of yours that you wrote is making him go through a lot, being humiliated, drugged, and dogging.
I was going to go to the red table by myself to talk about the entanglement. But Will decided he wanted to come with me. And we were going to then tell the world, hey, we haven't been together. And this happened during that time. Well, when we got to the table, Will wasn't ready. I had to respect that. Well, I didn't have to, but I wanted to. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take this heat, allowing myself to be portrayed as someone that had betrayed Will. And that wasn't the case.
I was like, you know what? You go figure it out. You go figure out if you can be happy and just prove to me it's even possible. It's friendship versus marital prison.
Jada's lying, and I have the timeline to prove it, and is currently on her Pay Attention to Me tour, and she is making all these wild claims, including that Tupac proposed to her while he was at Rikers. Really? The math isn't mathing, so let's take a look. Tupac was convicted of sexual assault charges on February 8th, 1995. From there, he was sent to Rikers Prison, only to be transferred less than a month later to Clinton Correctional Facility. And she specifically said she went to see him. This was not on the phone.
When I go to see him in Rikers, probably one of the more painful parts. Seeing him there, the condition that he was in, and having to leave him there.
Cool. So prior to going into Rikers, Tupac already had a girlfriend named Keisha. He proposed to Keisha, her words, in a September 2011 interview. He proposed to Keisha before he even went into prison. They were already engaged. They got married in April. And in the time that he got sentenced and was taken to prison, Keisha actually moved closer to be by him and be by the prison and saw him on a near daily basis.
When he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers.
So you're telling me that in the 3 to 4 week window that he was at Rikers, engaged to another woman who had moved closer to the prison and was there almost every day, Tupac proposed to Jada. But hey, Jess, you might be saying to yourself, Tupac wasn't known to be a one-woman man. He was no angel. Fair enough. Let's see where Jada was during February of 1995, which was, as we've already established, the only time she would have been able to see Tupac at Rikers since he was only there for less than a month. You see, Jada had already met Will Smith in 1994 on the set of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but Will Smith was married, and so nothing happened between them. But in February of 1995, Will Smith was served divorce papers by his wife. 5 days later, on February 19th, Will called Jada and said, "Are you single?" And she said, "Yep." Will said, "We're together now." Jada said, "Cool." And she immediately flew to LA. She flew so immediately that when he called her, she was in Maryland at a brand new house she bought. And she never spent a single night in her new house. That's how immediately she flew to LA.
Sure, about that time analysis of the situation. Yeah, but like, how come she never mentioned this before, that the guy proposed all these years? She only came to reveal that after the book came out. All the interviews she's done, all the questions that she's been asked about the relationship she had with Tupac, she never mentioned that he actually proposed marriage to her. She didn't.
You know why I never got divorced?
It's cheaper to keep me.
No. Because I've never met anybody like you, and I knew if I wasn't with you, I'd be searching in vain for the rest of.
That's the biggest problem right there. It looks like the man loves the woman so much. This is what happens when a man is in love with a woman so much.
Now, I am a big fan of Will Smith's work. Just as a actor, as someone who came from the game, watching, listening to Parents Just Don't Understand. This was Mike Lowrey from the Bad Boys. This is Agent J from Men in Black. This is Ali in the movie Muhammad. This is Hitch. Like, there's so many characters. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This man has always been the man. And to be married to a woman that appears outwardly loathes your presence is just bothering to me, you know? Because at the end of the day, if your woman can't crown you, then who the hell will? This is this man's wife. This is the same woman that let him get up and walk up to Chris Rock and slap dog fire out of him. And when that happened, I said on a video a while back, man, a good woman would have stopped her man. She would have grabbed him by the wrist and said, baby, don't worry about it. You're better than that. We're better than that. Sit down and chill. A woman is supposed to be your covering, supposed to be your helpmeet. And she has done nothing but dog this brother. So while he's sitting up there exalting her, oh, because I never met anybody like you, and I knew if it wasn't with you, I'd be searching in vain. She up there sitting there like, you only with me because it's cheaper to keep me. You can tell she has such disdain, such low level of respect or value for this man, and it shows outwardly. This is the same woman that brought him on her podcast to tell him she slept with his son's friend. She had an entanglement. Had this man out here crying, looking stupid. And let me tell you something else. Most of the time, women don't care about a man's tears. But I felt bad for Will Smith that day. And I tell you, for me, that would have been the end right there. For you to take your husband onto your platform to publicly embarrass him and tell him about an affair, to me, is school on a Sunday, no class.
They canceled Red Table Talk, so I had to write a book so I could continue to tell all my business and embarrass the hell out of Will. I don't want Will to be remembered as a great actor, but as a husband who could never satisfy me and I had an entanglement on. I was very confused when Will slapped Chris because the comment didn't even bother me. I just rolled my eyes and made faces for no reason. And I was more so embarrassed and disgusted at the fact that Will called me his wife, even though we portray ourselves to be a married couple. I simply cannot let Tupac rest in peace and must continuously bring him up every chance that I get.
Yeah, so I think Will Smith has sort of responded to any of this because there's been much talk, so many podcasts and so many interviews being done, and the topic of the conversation is the same woman. And yeah, so he's responded to that. He's posted some videos, so we can check it out.
I got something for you. Here's the thing. So my opinion of the
Fun fact about me, I can take a nap almost anywhere.
In conclusion, guys, I'll say that women don't care about your tears. Whatever situation you got going on and you start crying and all that, they don't care because it's not in your nature to cry. So don't do it.